Evolution is a process by which different kinds of living organisms are thought to have developed and diversified from earlier forms during the history of Earth. Life originated and then evolved from a common ancestor about 3.5 million years ago. Adaptive radiation, the diversification of a single lineage into a variety of species with different adaptive properties, can be seen by looking at the different finches on the Galapagos Islands. Each of the islands have their own geography, weather, and food supply. This allowed for the finches living in separate locations to adapt to their own environmental conditions. Beak size is the most obvious variation. Some finches have short, fat beaks, while others have long, skinny ones, depending on the food available to them: seeds, fruit, or insects. Comparative physiology is the study of similarities and differences of the vital processes found in various species of living organisms to determine fundamental physiological relationships between members of the animal and plant kingdoms. The bones found in whale fin, koala hand, and human hand are basically identical. Whales have no need for finger bones, so why are they found in their fins? The only possible answer is that whales, koalas, and humans all separately evolved from a common ancestor that used their hands to do certain activities. Whales started out living out of water. They had arms or feet that allowed them to walk on land. Over time, they were pushed into the water, and their previous hands were converted into fins that were necessary for swimming through the ocean. In the Canadian Arctic, scientists found a fossilized fish that they named Ptychothrosy, which means large freshwater fish. It had the limbs, skull, neck, and ribs of an animal, with the primitive jaw, fins, and scales of a fish. It is thought to be an intermediate step between fish and land-living animals, and has illuminated the complex bodily changes that happened when distant ancestors moved out of the water. The evolution of fins into sturdy limbs was accompanied by the formation of rudiments of an articulated neck, which allowed organisms to move their head in order to navigate in shallow water. Feet allowed them to walk on land in the bottom of water. If a predator came, they could easily scurry out of the land and into safety. A common misconception is to think of human evolution as a parade of hominids leading directly from an ancestral hominoid to Homo sapiens. It would be a very disorderly parade with many groups breaking away to wander down dead-end alleyways to become extinct. It is clear that human ancestors originated in Africa, and as they moved to Asia and Europe, they encountered Neanderthals, who may have been driven to extinction by combined stresses of the last ice age and competition from humans. They weren't able to produce sophisticated tools, showed little creativity, and didn't have the capability for symbolic thought. Bipedalism, being able to stand upright and walk on two legs, gave humans an evolutionary advantage over other species. The clued upright stance is the location of the opening in the base of the skull, through which the spinal cord exits, which allowed for the head to be held directly above the body. Fossils dating back about 1.6. The evolution of humans is an example of natural selection. Many different hominoid species were fighting for resources, and the ones best adapted to humans were able to thrive.